Hola Madridistas and fellow football lovers, welcome back to another special episode of Let's Be Real podcast. We are a Real Madrid podcast, but it would be criminal, in spite of all these schedule uh, contractions, that we can't cover the World Cup. In my opinion, for a long time, the World Cup was the tournament to play for, the tournament to follow, the tournament to watch. But also, in my opinion, over the years, it has lost some of its genuinity, its identity. Obviously, it has to do with money, of course. But regardless of how tarnished some people might think this World Cup in Qatar would be, because of all the issues surrounding it, I still think football will have the final say. And this World Cup, regardless of any obstacles it might face and has already faced, will be a huge success. Um, on that note, let's hope our players, return back fit, healthy, and firing, and even more motivated after a good tournament. Yeah, on that note, let's say welcome back again. Hola Madridistas and fellow football fans slash lovers slash fanatics slash crazies, because also the casuals. I got to say, the casuals are, uh, much more up for this than, fans who are much more affiliated to their clubs, the clubs they love. But it is different for some of the people here on the panel because their countries represent at the World Cup, which is a big factor. Honestly, if my country played at the World Cup, I wouldn't be in the same vibe, let's say. But before we kind of properly get into it, let's welcome our esteemed panel, usual suspects. Farouk representing Senegal. Unfortunately, Nigeria might have a chance next time because they have a fantastic squad. In my opinion, they have some brilliant players. Yadu representing Germany. He's from India like me, but he lives in Germany. He has some of the German arrogance, let's say, in him. So I think he has enough to carry the German flag. Also, Javier, staunch Mexican fan. Um, Whenever I've spoken to him about Mexico, he has had sob stories to discuss how Tata Martino is a knobhead. You're a Tata, I'm gonna be on your side, Javier. Tonight, I'm gonna be on your side, holding your hand and getting this man out of here if we can, through a live stream. But it is just a hypothetical way of protesting against, Tata Martino. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Also, Doris representing Croatia, a country that has like deep history with the World Cup. Who has faced their fair share of struggles with war, with all sorts of geopolitical tensions. Were you saying something, Doris?
No, I'm only thinking it's only from 98 actually that was our
98
first yeah,
was
and we
24 years ago.
yeah, and
It's been a long
we
time.
got a bronze then. We were third
Yeah,
place.
Devasuka is, in my
Yeah,
opinion, my humble opinion, one of the most underrated strikers of his generation. If you look up his uh, alumni, you might find how did this guy manage to play for top clubs all around Europe. He was very underrated. Um, but I guess Croatia's case is kind of a little icky this time around. At least, in my opinion, they have too many veterans, and I think their phase is over. But we'll get into it properly. Um, Before I get to you guys, I'll start off with
Oh,
my
no, no, no,
memory.
no. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Before that,
Go on.
today, you need to say what team you represent.
Oh, I think it was pretty obvious with my Rodrigo alliance. Usually, I'm pretty vocal about the Brazilian kids, and Brazil for me. So that's what I was getting to. So I'll start out with what my memories were of the World Cup as a kid who grew up in a place obsessed with football for sure. Saudi Arabia was pretty mad about football. I'll tell you that. But I didn't have any direct affiliation towards Saudi Arabia because I wasn't a national. I was born there, but I was Indian by heart. Um, for me, my first memories are obviously 2002, which I wasn't a spectator, but I quite obviously knew R9. I mean, you can't go through the late noughties. I mean, the early noughties and the late 90s without knowing who Phenomena was. I knew him, and I knew how good he was, and what kind of a magic team that 2002's Brazil team was. And later on, when I grew up, I kind of knew about how Germany was, Oliver Kahn and all that. But the first tournament I watched extensively was 2006. And imagine growing up as a kid and having all that hype around Brazil, and your dad supports France, and they have this enmity between them. Um, for me, the most, my first heartbreak as a football fan was the 2006 game between Brazil and France, in which Zizou just ran rings around, everyone, literally everyone. And he was the guy my dad was rooting for the most, and I hated it. Oh my God, I hated it. I had no idea he had any affiliation with Real Madrid or anything. I was a casual. I was 7. I was like, not 7, I think 11 years old. Um, but man, that hurt, watching Ronaldinho, watching Ronaldo, watching Carlos, bow out like that without even a whimper hurt. From then on, let's just say Brazil never quite lived up to its potential. And after that, the only team that kind of dealt France a heavy blow, I became a fan of. Italy. Italian football has never been the most pretty to watch, but I kind of had this liking for them, even though I knew nothing about negative tactics or diving or anything. I just knew that these guys would run through brick walls for their country. That's why I kind of they're racist, they're fascists. Italians are not the people to actually like. Their ideologies are kind of messed up, but I like their football team. That's how I like Milan myself. Like guys like Pirlo, guys like Gattuso. It was insane. But yeah, that's my first memories. I'm gonna stop with the monologue and get right to Farouk next.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna just start going through the group bit by
No,
bit.
no, 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 no. Your first memories of the World Cup, man.
I think my first memory of the World Cup also goes to the Brazil game as well, Brazil France. I wouldn't say well, for the O2, I actually literally I can't even recall anything. Like I just know like it's Korea, Japan, and like Japan apparently was a monster in the tournament, and what is not. Like it's just a faint memory. And well, I would say like yeah, uh, the Brazil and France was really a game I actually, because like I think that was the year actually I started to watch football a lot, and like not a lot, but I would say I got into football because I loved Dino a lot. Like then actually I wasn't supporting anybody, but like I loved Ronaldinho a lot. Like the man was the essence of football. Like it's just pure fun and it's a job at the same time. You get entertained and he also does his work at the same time. and like he was someone that I think it's difficult to find someone who dislikes Ronaldinho. So that's why when
You can't hate the man. Yeah.
shouldn't disrespect your opponents. And I mean, like, Ronaldinho was someone who was like doing anything.
My first memory of Ronaldinho was when I grew up. I rewatched the goal that he scored against England. Oh my days! Oh my days! From a free kick, he was what, like 22 or 23 years old then. Insane stuff. Insane stuff. Yeah, go on, Farouk.
Yeah. So for me, like, Dino was like, the reason actually, I watched the Brazil France game, and obviously because like, back in Nigeria, like we had a lot of Arsenal fans, and like TT Henry was like a really big deal. Like he's
very big deal.
At least at that time he was a big deal. So like everyone was like, supporting France because of TT, and it was like that. So I was like, I'm a Dino person, so I'm just gonna, go and watch Ronaldinho. But like then I discovered, the brilliance of Zinedine Zidane as well. Like, albeit it was so late because like 2006
I was so pissed off at this ball, man. I didn't know how the fuck he was dancing. I had no clue. No clue. No clue.
Like, that was just, wow. And obviously, like then, like the elderly people that we were watching it, like they were all like, oh, like you don't know who Zidane is, this and that. I mean, obviously, like you're just talking to a kid who doesn't, child doesn't know jack shit about anything. And I was like really, really mesmerized by Zidane. And from there, I also became a Zizou fan, from being a Dino fan to becoming a Zizou fan. And I went to the final with them. And unfortunately, the Zizou Materazzi thing happened. And
yeah. Oh, I remember that. My God, I just couldn't believe what was happening. Even for a young kid, I just knew that this was batshit crazy to do in a final. But
before that, there was the ingenuity of the Panenka penalty against Buffon of all people.
Oh,
like
there's nothing you can do.
I fell in love with Zizou, against Brazil and all that. But like, seeing that was like, wow, this man is living on it. Like he's doing things that, because like that was the first time I saw the Panenka, so I thought like he was the man who invented it or something.
Yeah, like when I saw that pen, I thought, okay, this is how usually people take penalties. This is the norm. For me, it was a norm. But yeah, insane stuff. Insane stuff. No, the main question is, Farouk, tell us about Nigeria and your journey supporting them. And they're not a bad national team,
I'd say this, that I would say I haven't been lucky to watch a good Nigerian team. Like, because like I watched the, I don't know if you guys know, like Nigeria won the '96 Olympics, against the Ronaldos and the Carloses and the Rivaldos, and even
I didn't know that, really. Nice.
Like we won in the semi-final against Brazil. With the Rivaldos, the Carloses and the Ronaldos and the Dinos as well. And then in the final we won against Argentina actually.
So in that team, guys like Okocha was there in that '96.
The '96 team was really good. Like we had like JJ Okocha, we had like Wanko Kanu, we had Daniel Amokachi, we had Babayaro, and like these guys were playing for top European clubs. Like Kanu was like a 2-time Champions League winner. Like Okocha was like
Are you talking about Solomon Kalu?
No. There's Kanu, not Kalu.
Kanu, the guy who used to play for Arsenal, right?
Before
baller, absolute baller. Like you see the man, he can't barely walk, but when you see him dribble, this guy is the shit. Yeah, I remember Kanu.
We used to have those guys at that point in time. We also had this very good striker Rashidi Yekini. He's passed on me, so rest in peace. So like I haven't been lucky to see like very good teams like that anymore. Because after then, like although we won the African Cup of Nations in 2013, and we've qualified, I think, for 2 World Cups since then as well. But I wouldn't say like I am a fan of a Nigerian national team, to be honest. Like, okay,
really?
if they're going to the World Cup, I will be there, but I wouldn't, like be there supporting.
So you have like no passion for them?
I wouldn't say I have a beat, but
it's not a bad thing, It's not a bad thing. Like everybody is different.
No. I think the point is that for me, like football eventually is just an end game to an entertainment. You understand? So like I wouldn't just go there and sit down and people keep. And the point now becomes, for example, like you like touched about Nigeria has a good team right now. We have like Victor Osimhen, Kelechi Iheanacho, Emmanuel Dennis, and so on and so forth. Like
Aribo.
Very good strikers who score very good. Like Dennis had like 10+ goals last year in the Premier League. Like Iheanacho also has a number of goals. Like Victor Osimhen is probably the best striker in Italy and all that. And we play Ghana in Lagos, Nigeria, and we lost. We couldn't score a goal. So like it's so
Lost on away goals or something was insane.
Yeah, exactly. We lost on away goals because like we couldn't. They scored one and then we scored. It was a draw eventually. And
but let me tell you something, Farouk. Regardless of how like they couldn't make this World Cup, everyone on this panel can agree that Nigeria is football heritage. They always churn out good players. Always have
like it's just we're just living on history right now. We're just like exactly we live on that history. Especially the '96 Olympics. Actually, the '96 Olympics was really really key for Nigeria because like as I said, like it was against the mighty Brazil. Like literally, no one gave Nigeria a chance in hell. And I think even in the game we were 2-0 down, if I'm not mistaken. We were 2-0 back, and like it was like something else. So that's the thing. And actually, what happens also is that Nigeria always have good players here and there. Even after the group of '96, we had Joseph Yobo playing for a lot of Everton. We had Aigbeni playing in the Yakubu playing in the Premier League. He was a very good striker in the Premier League as well. We had Mikel at Chelsea. We had so we had like players like distributed all across different places. We even had Tai at AC Milan at a certain point in time. And if you could recall as well, the Olympics that Messi and Aguero won. Like it was the final.
2008.
Was it 2008 or 2007? I can't remember. But like we played 2 finals with Argentina actually, on the 20s and the Olympic finals back to back. Messi Aguero team. So like they played against Nigeria 2 finals. So like we always had youngsters, promising youngsters, but eventually like we never build them up to become like a whole a functional team and what is not. So that is that, honestly. But yeah, I mean,
African football, I'll tell you, like nobody gives African teams a chance to really make it to probably the quarterfinals of the semis. But I can guarantee you that they're getting there. You watch the AFCON. Yes, Egypt plays terrorist football and stuff, but the federations and the money in the game, I think, will hopefully catapult Africa as a continent into World Cup glory like sometime soon, because the talent is clearly there. The talent coming through is genuinely. Yeah.
I told him like I believe that Senegal is as good as Denmark, maybe better than Denmark. But Denmark, I believe, is a good candidate to win the World Cup this year. But Senegal isn't. Now it's no longer about the players you have or what is not. It's about the organization. For example, we look at teams like Morocco. Maybe we're gonna come that there. They literally fired the coach just a couple of weeks before the tournament started. So like we always have this kind of short-sightedness. Players against the coaches against the federation. Even a story
it's always the same.
I think at the last Olympics or the one before that, I think it was 2012 Olympics. Nigeria had I think bronze. No, it wasn't 2012 Olympics. Sorry, it's not 2012. I think it's 2016 Olympics. Nigeria
I don't recall any Olympics football things. So I
had bronze from the Olympics. What happened on the eve of the Olympics?
What happened?
Had to pay for the hotel of the players.
This is the thing. I don't know if you guys follow cricket, but what happens to the West Indies board? That West Indies is basically that represents Jamaica, Trinidad, and whatnot. These guys have a huge issue between the players and the management as well. So it's not a surprise, like when I hear stuff like what you just mentioned. It is sad. It is sad. It is definitely a factor in them stunting the growth of the African nations. But in my opinion, it'll get there. But I wanna come to you, Yadu, right? You have an affiliation towards Germany, or did it just start after you moved there?
Historically, I never did.
Okay.
Because my association with football or the peak hype built up around 2010 when we had Waka Waka and waving flag being played at school during the lunch break, which just made everybody go crazy.
Let's just agree that they are the greatest World Cup song of
all time. No doubt. There's nothing topping that.
The only one that beats it probably is Ricky Martin's, Cup of Life. The Cup of Life is different gravy.
I mean, sure. agree to disagree, because that's the hype of the hype building up over and over, and it playing in different cities, every country releasing its own parodies and whatnot. That, I mean, that's the musical side of it. But let's just move away from that and just focus on, I mean, the memories that I associate with the World Cup is being at home, going to all the clubs. I mean, we have these regional clubs where we just get together and watch all the matches. And then we play, trying to emulate and failing at copying all the greats playing at the greatest stages, all the flexes, all the environmental pollution aside, all the flexes and all the marches and all the
So you didn't
what
have
do you call it?
like you didn't have a soft spot for any team back then?
I mean, my dad is a big Argentina fan, but that's because of
Argentina.
Maradona, which caused a lot of confusion at home, because I was watching it with him and then rooting for Argentina, and then I would just go to the club and root for whatever team they were rooting for, because I didn't know jack shit. Which made for interesting conversation at home versus at the clubs, which is a part and parcel of childhood growing up in Kerala, especially growing up in Malabar, where I'm from. Yeah, man, those are good times. And if I was back there, I'd probably be out in the streets holding a Brazil banner. But then again,
A
since I
Brazil
moved,
banner,
probably, yeah, because it's a big majority there. Brazil versus
but
Argentina
you're
is huge in
representing
India.
Germany right now, and then
Yes, so let me come to
every
that. I've
yeah,
been living here for the past 4 years, and in that time, I've been going to a lot of Bundesliga games. I've been talking to a lot of colleagues, friends about Bundesliga, about all of the, you have FPL and you have the same thing here. It's
yeah.
called different, but yeah, I got really involved. And
Germany
whenever,
for sure is a very football centric nation.
oh, absolutely, you just need football to
Like
make conversation
great
with,
football.
yeah, you just need football to make conversation with
I
literally
think it's one
anybody.
of the more like people try to undermine the Bundesliga, but like they also put it in caps lock that it is one of the most evenly run footballing systems, like in
The
Europe, like
best, the best system in
um,
place, yeah, man.
how most of the clubs apart from Leipzig are like fan owned. Like there is clearly a way where Germans, regardless of what others think, they try to do it the right way. Do you know what I mean?
The support for local clubs is amazing here. I've never
Amazing.
seen that in any other country I've been to.
That is a clear indication of the talent that comes through.
Exactly.
Germany has a huge pool. Like every World Cup, every Euros, they always have at least a couple of bright young players. Like we can talk about Mukoko, this time, who's gonna probably tear it up. You never know. You never know. Uh, Also, the other guy, what was his name? I forgot his name. He has like 12, 13 goals, I think, this season. Who's there? Musiala or some shit, Like, I think he's okay.
You think he's
okay.
okay? Okay. So I won't question you on that. Okay, we move. But yeah, I've been seeing the talent here, and the most games I've been to at home is Dortmund, where I also had the chance to see Germany play against Argentina in
Nice.
2020, which was yeah, which was absolutely amazing, man. I love going to Dortmund because the atmosphere there. I mean, it's incomparable. Let's just put it that way. To be part of the yellow wall, to hold up a particular tifo, it does something to you. So yeah, this time World Cup running around, I'm running with the German crowd. So yeah, there we go.
Diamond Shaft. Say no more, say no more. I'm gonna go to Javier.
Oh, before
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna have to correct you on that, because if we have German listeners, it's Die Mannschaft.
Die Mannschaft.
Mannschaft. Yeah, there you go. That's the
So
one.
it's not Diamond Shaft.
No. Nobody's
That's a
dying.
horrible way to say it.
Nobody's dying, man. Yeah, it's Die Mannschaft.
No pun intended. But I'm gonna come to you, Javier. I'm gonna just lower the mood a bit, because we are all too happy. We can't be that happy with Tata Martino, can we, Javier?
No, you can't. And also you can't be happy if you're Mexican. In the history of the World Cup, no, it's a history of bittersweet since the beginning. You know, we are one of the first countries that in the first tournament. You know, but we didn't win until I think our fourth or fifth appearance, and then we host probably the the best World Cup in terms of football journalists and media. They say the 1970 was the best tournament. You know, in terms of com- uh, all the teams were all around. You know, we have peak Pelé, and also you have like West Germany, and then you have a very solid Argentina. You know, like I can go on, you know, and then we host for a second time in just under 16 years.
Yeah.
It's a history for another time, maybe, but it was supposed to be Colombia, not Mexico, who host the '86 World Cup. But
Oh,
then we have another excellent World Cup. You know, we have peak Pelé and also peak Maradona, and Mexico's passion for football, it's something that you can feel it. You know, it's not I remember when Mexico won the golden medal in the 2012 Olympics. It literally shakes the earth. You know,
yeah.
the
I've
fans
heard
in
about it.
the fans in Mexico City were so loud that
Yeah.
they provoke an earthquake. You know, we're passionate, but in the same regard, we have a history of bittersweet. You know, you
Yeah.
said my first memory in the World Cup. You know, you guys watching. Probably you don't know, but I'm the oldest. So my first World Cup
It is not
memory.
something to brag about, Javier.
Oh, yes, I'm wiser. You should all. No, but my first World Cup memory, I think it was, you know, like in '98. I was in elementary school and the games were at in the morning. So my father, you know, I was trying to call sick, you know, just to stay home and watch the games. And my mother said, like, no, you need to go to school. And then they felt bad, and my father decided to go for me and pick me up and watch the games. You know, like I'm a football fan, and I used to play football for as long as I can remember. Uh, and you know, I for me it's special every World Cup because I have a lot of excitement for the tournament, and I know as a Mexican, you know, I already know I'm not, you know, like this bias, and I don't think Mexico is ever going to win. You know, like
Yeah.
rooting for my team, it's it's beyond my.
Mexico is regarded as perennial round of 16 fodder. They, along with Brazil, I think, are the only two clubs to make it out of the group every single World Cup since '94. So there you go. Like they have a very consistent uh, approach to how they navigate the group. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. Javier.
Yeah, and we usually tend to go against one of the toughest teams. You know, like this last World Cup was Brazil.
Yeah.
The one before that was Netherlands, and you know, this is one of the greatest tragedies in the history of the Mexican national team. You know, like uh, we still hate Robin until this day. You know, and after that, you know, one of our biggest rivals in I when we go passing the group stages, but Argentina is one of our worst nightmares. You
Yeah.
know,
They have a number.
probably yeah, probably Argentina is one of the worst nightmares of almost everyone. But for us, is something special. And then just to round up my you know, like my biggest disappointment in, I think in my football as a fan history was the 2002 World Cup. We beat Italy, one of the best Italies ever, and we moved.
2002, I can imagine the pool of Italian players then. My days.
Yeah,
Peak.
yeah. And then we go against the USA in the round of 16, and they beat us for the first time in any tournament.
USA
Yeah,
was
and
London Donovan playing in 2002?
yeah, I think he was like 20 or something, like he was quite young.
Okay.
And I think he
What
scored
about
the goals.
Klinsmann? What about Klinsmann?
Jurgen?
Yeah.
No, he's for Germany.
Oh, my bad. Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
he coached.
His
He used
accent
to
throws
coach.
me off. My bad.
Yeah, no, he's a World Cup winner.
He's a World Cup legend. Yeah. I completely forgot. My bad.
Yeah, but like every 4 years is the same. Like we hate the coach, we don't agree with the decisions, and as the balls starts running, we go completely nuts. I be rooting for them. I be 100% on my team until we most surely
Say it,
suffer
Javier.
against a big team. Probably this
Bro,
is
honestly, you'll get there because the amount of passion that I've seen, from the outside looking in, that Mexico fans have, and that translates onto the pitch. In my opinion, tactics and talent can take you far, very far. But if you don't have passionate fans and a fan base that would die for you, it is regarded as like void, null and void.
yeah,
And
and
Mexico
they're
has
crazy.
that.
Sonny, we're gonna be the second nation with more fans in the World Cup,
There you go.
and
So
we usually are like hundreds and hundreds. I personally know like 10 people that are going to the World Cup. Like it's not like it's almost like 20 hours flight, and like they're crazy, and they knew that we don't have that much options. Like for the first time, it's a real we're scared that we're not going to pass the group stages for the first time. You said it, since 1994, and prior to that, because we don't go to the 1990 World Cup, but the streak goes, I think, back to 1982. So
really,
yeah, and it's crazy, like but that's the point, like they always make fun of us because we're like we usually pass the group stages, and that's it.
but see, like it is not easy, and like for any team to pass it out of the group is never going to be easy, and I don't think people give Mexico enough credit, like honestly. But we'll get into it. Javier. Talking about football as a way, Croatia is right up there. Like they have, like Doris earlier alluded to 1998 being their, like their peak before the 2018 final. But in my opinion, Croatia always had like great players in their ranks. And I'm gonna ask you, Doris, your fondest memories supporting Croatia.
Well, the first one I remember was the one in Germany. I remember all ice creams and all packages of products had a Germany stickers on it. Same as with the Africa one and Brazil. We still do that for all ice creams, and it's a really cool thing we do. And as a kid, like at the at the time of a World Cup, that's all that everyone does, and everything is uh, decorated with that country's flags and stuff and colors. But the one I remember, like the game I remember the most was the opening game against Brazil. Uh, I remember my whole family screaming at the TV. Everyone felt cheated, and it's still part of our history. It hurts, and many people think that's the reason we didn't leave the group stage, which I don't agree. Mexico beat us 3-1, I think. Yeah. Wow. So I never agree with that, but people will be people and complain. But yeah, there were many memorable moments as a kid. My mom was a huge fan of Zinedine and David Beckham, of course. I wonder why. Uh, um, and yeah, my whole family always tunes in for tournaments like this, and they will still watch this one no matter what everyone says.
My memory is kind of faded. Since you alluded to the Brazil game, can you walk me through? Can you refresh my memory as to why there was controversy regarding the fixture?
So yeah, first Marcelo scored an own goal in that game. That's the thing I remember the most. Uh, because as a kid, you only remember like really interesting
Same here.
things
Same here.
about people, and I always remember him from the World Cup, and he always looked, really, really funny to me, and I always loved him, and no matter what, that was probably still my favorite World Cup in Brazil, at least to watch it. Um, Also, the South Africa one, definitely one of my favorites. I would actually put the 2018 one in, like, in memories, in third place. And that
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, wow.
them maybe sound weird, but I was a kid, and those memories are really special to me.
Special.
And I'm sure I will still think about the 2018 one, of course I will, but those are really special to me.
Mm. Well, Croatia, I think, has always had like a fighting spirit, and along with that fighting spirit, had very technically, skillful players. All throughout their ranks. Like if you even if you go back to Serena, like he was mad at wing back, and the way I've only seen very little of him. But the way the man can actually ping a ball, I would honestly say that, like, people are overhyping Trent. Honestly, like, people should actually go back and watch Sana at action. Like, he was, in my opinion, very, very underrated. But it is what it is. I guess without further ado, it is time to get into predictions. So, for the people watching in, or who will be watching in later, we'll be going group by group and basically predicting what is going to happen. And the winner and the runners up of the group would be decided by a vote. And so when we get to each group, I think among us, we decided to kind of allot one group to one person so that they can kind of give us a briefing about a particular group. So once that is done, we go to each one of us and kind of decide who goes through and who does not. It might be interesting. Definitely, we'll have a few hot takes tonight for sure. Because the World Cup is crazy, and it has a reputation for sending the hosts home when nobody expects it. So it is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, let's say the least. Farooq, can you help us kind of bring it up and get it moving? You're on mute, by the way.
All right, then you do with your permission. We're gonna go straight live to the
Yes, Farouk, let's go.
All right, so we're gonna start with Group A, obviously, like Captain Obvious. So I think
Who
it's
was handling Group A? Was it you?
yeah, it's me.
There you go. Take it away, my friend. Take it away.
Yeah. So obviously we're gonna start with none other than Qatar, the host of the World Cup. So
There
it's
you go.
first World Cup. So obviously, I mean, Qatar isn't that known, for football. So actually, what the interesting thing about this is that Qatar comes into the World Cup as the champion of the of the Asian Football Confederations, and they actually have quite a number of players who are actually, quite interesting as well. Like I obviously know that a lot of us, at least myself and the guys on the panel, also we don't watch a lot of Qataris football, but they actually have a coach who he was from Barcelona as well. He was
Barcelona B manager, ex-Barca B manager. And these were, hella pre-planned, right? These guys were on this 2022 World Cup thing, or a World Cup thing for at least 10 years, I think.
exactly ever since it has been announced. Ever since then, the World Cup was awarded to them. I think
I
afterwards.
think even before it was announced, because the whole thing is a rig. We all know that. It was rigged.
Money talks, bro. Money talks. But it is what it is, and we move.
Exactly that. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. Like the World Cup is starting just in a couple of days, so we just have to focus on the football and just try to enjoy what we can enjoy from.
No. We are absolutely focusing only on the football. But I was just telling you that they were working on this for at least a decade, for sure.
I mean,
Because from
absolutely.
what I've heard, believe me or not, from what I've heard, they actually went around shopping for young talents in Africa and in places like the poorer parts of Europe, even. Like basically mind washing players and telling them we'll give you a better life, and basically move them in when they're young and then give them citizenship and basically bring them into the team. So this has been a very carefully plotted operation, in my humble opinion. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, like, for Qatar going into the World Cup now and being the host and what is not, I think the goal for Qatar here will just be, to at least score a goal, score a goal here and there. Like if they can get a victory, that would be fantastic. But I don't know if you guys could recall, like, in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, like in the game, I think Javier will recall very well. In the game, Mexico versus South Africa was the first game of the tournament. And the goal from Siwe Shabalala literally, if there was a Richter scale there, it will measure maybe the largest earthquake ever seen in the whole of South African region of Africa. It was so loud.
Insane. Oh my God. Peter Drury on the commentary, everything was perfect.
And even the goal was a really good goal. I think Javier can remember as well. It was a ton of Shabalala. It was really, really nice. So I think Qataris will also, be looking forward to something like this if they can get, a goal at least to start out, even whatever happens or what doesn't happen. And, they have actually players for that. For example, their main man is a former Sporting Lyon striker, Akram Atif. So he has, European pedigree and European experience as well. So he's someone who knows how to get the goals. And they also have, their left back, Abdul Qadir Hassan. He was named the player of the year, like Asian player of the year once upon a time. So like, these are players that, and also, as I said, like at the beginning, they have the pedigree of winning the, Asian Federation Cup. So they have a bit of
They have a Muntari. That's not the same Muntari, right, Farooq?
That's on the same.
I'm just hoping, at this point.
Actually, the Muntari you're talking about is Sule Muntari. He's actually Ghanaian and he's retired, actually.
Yeah, what a player.
Anyways, that's something for another time. So yeah, as I said, like Qataris will just look out there to just hopefully not make the numbers, but on a more realistic note, like they're just there to make up the numbers and enjoy the festival.
You left out Ali Al Moez, who actually scored, I think, 9 goals in the 2019 Asian Cup final. I think he is by far their most potent threat. That man actually scored even a bicycle kick, against Japan in the final. He seems like the guy like that might give Qatar, an outside chance, basically. And from what I've heard from people talk about Qatar, they play a very possession-based style, although with a 5 at the back. and yeah, clearly influenced by our Spanish grass cutter. If you know, look it up. You know who the Spanish grass cutter is, but yeah, his style has had a huge say in how Qatar has set up. I think they played in the Gold Cup. They even played in the Copa America, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, and they did fairly well. In the Gold Cup, I think they came third or something.
They were in the
In the
Gold Cup, I remember that as well.
Sorry.
They were in the semifinals of the Gold Cup, I remember well.
Ah, and I think they made it to the knockouts in the Copa America too. So they are not bad. They are not bad by any stretch, and I think they might give every team a good fight. And hosts, man, you gotta take into account the fact that the host always tend to do well. Like when you have the crowd on your side and logistics on your side, you tend to more often than not um, like do at least more than what people expect of you. And let me also add this: they are the only host uh, to like they're basically trying to avoid a bad stat to be the only host apart from South Africa in 2010 to not get out of the group stage. So yeah, they might have a point to prove.
Yeah, valid points, the valid points. But the point now becomes this like no matter how position based or what tactics they have, like this is the first time in the biggest tournament. So like
Yeah, for sure.
Into consideration as well. So but then you're right, actually it's a thing to look out for, honestly. But then I actually just feel like this might be too much of a task for them to get out, because like it's quite a packed.
I mean, all things considered, just look at the group. There's, realistically speaking, there's no way they're making it out of the group. They have massive advantage being the host, as Farooq just said. But realistically, I mean, come on, do you expect them to? I don't.
Mm. You never know. Football is mad, man. Football is mad. Honestly, if let me tell you from my own painful memory, yeah. If Italy at the 2010 World Cup, walking into the World Cup as former champions, as reigning champions, alongside in a group alongside New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, Paraguay and Slovakia, you would expect Italy to steamroll the group. They got out. They got knocked out. As simple as that. Imagine New Zealand, Paraguay, Slovakia. So you never know. You never know.
And actually, that's the thing, like in this for this group, actually, there's a lot of like factors to consider as well. For example, like we got the news earlier today that Sadio Mane is not gonna play for Senegal.
Yeah,
That's
big news. Big news. Because honestly, initially it was, if I'm not mistaken, initially it was like maybe he might not make it to the first game, or maybe the second game he might make it from the bench and stuff. But even then, people were like, "Oh, if he's gonna miss the first game, like they're gonna be, like off to a bad start from the get go." But now it almost seems like they're gonna be suffering from missing their talisman. And
the logic from the national team like management for Senegal was that our first game is against Poland, so like we're just gonna write it off. Like even if we lose the game, or like even if we play with Sadio Mane, we're most likely gonna lose the game. So it's not important. If we could fit Sadio Mane in for the second game or the third game, because the second game is against Qatar. If they could fit Sadio Mane in for the second game and get 3 points from there, and they go into the last game against Ecuador, just it's going to be like a straight shootout for like just the qualification. So that's what they expected. But the injury turned out to be worse than they thought. So it just changed the whole logistics. And the reason why I brought that up is because like human beings are not robots. So like there's an emotional aspect to it. Like Sadio Mane, led them to the AFCON. He literally, like, his shootout, literally his last kick, literally brought them to the World Cup here. So he's been someone.
But let's not forget. It was against a shambolic Egyptian team. Whenever
I mean,
I've
still,
seen Egypt play,
the whole tournament. Let's just look at the whole tournament.
But I'm telling you, Egypt stood in their way both times, both in the
Yeah.
qualifiers and at the AFCON final. And whenever I've seen Egypt play, they don't play anything remotely close to good or even decent football. It is proper terrorism, from Egypt. So I fear for Senegal, honestly. They have very good players, Koulibaly, like you could name so many. Tambo and Gisa, like they have good players, but not sure, not sure.
Actually, so that's the thing. Like, actually, when you check, the squad of Senegal, you could see like Senegal actually is filled with players that that ply the trade at top European clubs. But what's
exactly, yeah.
As I said earlier, like it now comes, into the emotional aspect of it. Like, when they're all hoping and fingers crossed for Sadio to do stuff to happen, and all of a sudden Sadio is no longer there. Although he's not the captain and Koulibaly is the captain, but like he's the emotional leader of the.
It's the same thing with Neymar for Brazil. If you remember the game where they caught.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it must be missing from the memory of certain Brazil fans, but
To be honest, I always said
yeah.
this. I felt like, for the 2014 World Cup, like if Neymar doesn't get injured against Colombia, I think Brazil wins the tournament, in my opinion. Ahead of
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, we're skipping some
Even
groups. We're skipping some groups, though. Let's come back to Senegal and
Okay,
finish
yeah,
that
okay.
off in the meantime.
But actually, I just want to point something out actually about Senegal right now, which is that for I wouldn't say West Africa only, but I would say for the whole of Africa, like we have Ali Suisse. So like the most an African team has actually progressed in the World Cup is to the quarterfinals. In 2002, Senegal did this with Ali Cisse and
yes.
Ali
And
Cisse
the other team to reach the quarterfinal was in 2010, Ghana.
Ghana reached the quarterfinals. So Ali Cisse was the captain of Senegal actually at 2002. So like,
was he? Okay.
right now he's the coach, and now you see he won the AFCON, and also he led the team to the World Cup finals. Even last time he was also the coach in the 2018 World Cup. Unfortunately, well, I'm just trying to say like this is actually a feel good story here actually, because like he was the captain, and because we've seen with a lot of teams, especially like in West and North Africa, like we just employ foreign coaches and just come and literally like you have coaches who are living in Europe but coaching the national teams of a team in Africa, and like they just commute, like it's like going to the market and coming back, so they're not really invested in the whole system. But like honestly, like Ali Cisse is someone that is respected throughout of Africa, and like all the players.
The fact when you mentioned that he used to captain Senegal, like this stat that I have here makes perfect sense. They are the only team to reach the World Cup as AFCON champions in the 21st century, and I think this man has had a huge say, in their fortunes. And when you go through their lineup, man, it's like it's slightly worrying, especially from a Chelsea perspective. They are not having the best of transitions post Tuchel with Graham Potter, and Mendy has been benched like for Kepa. Like if you read that couple of years ago, you would say that like you're a madman, because Mendy has had a very horrible 2022 in my opinion, and right now I think he's back in the squad because Kepa got injured and stuff. Him, Koulibaly, he hasn't had like a good start to his Chelsea career either, and there you go. Like those two guys are, in my opinion, I think they're the biggest leaders, and they seem to be at a rough place in this moment of time. So I clearly worry for Senegal, especially without Mane. They do have a few good players. Idrissa Gana Gueye, he's good. He's still good, serviceable player. Koyate, I rate him. Although he has moved on from Palace, Pape Gueye for Marseille, he's a good player. Biata, very good player for Monaco. Ismail Assar, obviously, the back foot, tricky winger. They do have talent in their ranks, but honestly, for me, like it would be a bit difficult to actually get out of the group more than they think.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that, because I actually feel like, for me personally, I feel like it's a straight shootout between Senegal and Ecuador actually. So I feel like Ecuador actually has the
Ecuador. Very interesting team, very interesting team. Go on.
I feel like Ecuador has the upper hand now, because like if Ecuador starts the game against the game against Qatar, if they could get 3 points from that game, they go into the game against Senegal like knowing that okay, we have 3 points in the bank. We just don't have to lose this game. Whatever happened, if we don't lose against Senegal, we are through. You understand? So like Senegal has to go, because if Senegal loses the first game against Netherlands, then you have like a moral. I mean, like it's a shot in the moral. Like it's a negative impact in their morale. And then they go into the game against Qatar, and you never can tell what happens and what doesn't happen. As pointed out, like it's the host, the fans are behind them, and what is and what is not. So and then the form of, especially I fear mostly for Kalidou Koulibaly, because like if he can, get some renaissance, like he's someone who can hold together everything, even Mendy's form and what is not. If Kalidou Koulibaly can, get into some, a rich form of playing, a rich vein of form, then it's going to be really, really good, given that they're
It's a tall ask. It's a tall ask. It is a tall ask for sure. And you're underestimating Ecuador, right? Like I would say this is probably a tournament too soon for their.
Let me come to you. It's not about underrating Ecuador. Ecuador only won games during the qualifiers that were in Ecuador. Ecuador is like 3,000 meters above sea level. Like people literally have to play with masks after every. I mean, so that's the thing.
I've heard about that.
It's not like, I mean, if Ecuador had actually gone to Uruguay and won, had gone to Colombia or Paraguay or Chile and won, then I would say okay something. But the point is when you're playing at your home ground, which is like 3,000 meters above the sea level. I hope the numbers are right if I'm mistaken. But anyways, it's a really high altitude.
I've heard people have breathing issues all the time when we play.
Yeah, but
20 minutes.
probably your guys are confusing Ecuador to what is this? It's not Ecuador, the one that is insanely high. It's Bolivia.
Is it Bolivia?
Yeah, it's Bolivia. Bolivia is like almost four.
No. I think you're right as well. Bolivia actually is also high, but Ecuador also is 3,000 meters above sea level.
But it's almost all the continent. Mexico City is above 3,000 meters. So it's not that, the one that it's famous for, I think it's Bolivia. I may be wrong, it might be those two, but the one that everyone complains about it's Bolivia.
Actually, the reason why I'm saying this, Javier, is that because I was actually reading an article earlier today, and the author of the article was keen to highlight that the point is that 3,000 meters above sea level is not normal for teams like Brazil and Argentina, for example. So that's actually I also brought that up as also point that out that it's just the situation when you have East Africans who run marathons because already they live in this kind of their environment makes their lungs more adaptable to long distances naturally, you understand, so they have an advantage. So it's similar, the players of Ecuador who were born in Ecuador have the advantage of being acclimatized to the environment.
I bet they can smoke 4 cigarettes at one go. But see, I have some interesting stuff regarding Ecuador, because they haven't conceded for 10 hours straight, 10 hours straight in all competitions, and it is not an easy feat. But also on the flip side, they haven't scored a goal in 5 games.
That's the thing I was gonna. So, but the thing now becomes is I actually want to pinpoint something here. So there's a team based in Istanbul, Fenerbahce. Maybe you guys know or not. Ener Valencia plays for Fenerbahce and he has 13 goals.
Man, how is he still going? He
has 13
He's the top scorer. Right? He's the top scorer in
he's the top scorer in the Turkish Super League right now. And he has 13 goals.
I couldn't believe my eyes, honestly.
So that's the thing. If Ener Valencia can bring, that goal scoring touch together with the defensive nous that they have, I think it's going to be really good. Because when you check, the defense, it's Moses Caicedo as a defensive midfielder, one of the highest rated.
It's so good, super good. It's only a matter of time, before someone, get them out of fucking Brighton.
You have Paris Estupiñán from Villarreal last year, if I'm not mistaken, who was part of the, the
Brilliant player.
So I mean, they have shine, they have bright players here and there, and about teams like Ecuador, it's not about the individual, but rather it's about the collective. That's the
So, Hincapie too, who plays for Leverkusen. He's a very, very good upcoming defender. He's only 20 years old. So yes, they have some talent in their ranks for sure. But you said it's a collective. It's definitely a collective. But the big boys, the LVG boys, Farouk, do you rate Netherlands?
So that's the thing. I don't know if you guys remember, but from Euro 2020, which was played in 21 due to the COVID. Before that, Netherlands were flying so high. But then you come into the competitive games, and Netherlands went out to the Czech Republic. And I actually watched the game. I think Patrick Schick had 2 goals. And I I can tell you guys that Netherlands would have played the game for 1 year and they still would have lost that game. For 365 days, and they will still have lost that game. So that's the thing. Like, really, I am so, how will I say, like, split on, to be honest, to make a comment about Netherlands and what is not. Because, there was a stat here that says, like, Netherlands have not lost since the round of 16 defeat to Czech Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? But the thing is, see, I have a lot to say about Netherlands because growing up, they were also one of my favorite teams to watch. Them, Uruguay, they had something about them. But let's put this into perspective. The team that I saw, the Dutch team that I saw growing up, were the likes of Snyder, Van Persie. You can't hate the man, people like Stecklenburg, people like I'm fucking blanking now, but such a wonderful team.
Van Bommel. I mean, Ruben, Van Bommel, Van Bronckhorst.
Van Bommel, yeah, Barca left back. Like Robin, there was so much talent. There was even a young Ryan Babel. It was exciting times, man. But now you go from that to Vincent Janssen, which I think flopped in the Liga MX, if I'm not mistaken. Javier, if you know, I don't know, but
in Monterrey.
Yeah, Vincent Janssen was never a good striker. I think he had spells at Tottenham at one point. I'm not sure. Luke De Jong, man, the less said about him, the better. Weghorst, Weghorst, I think, is the best of the lot. But even then, the downgrade is just incredible. How their strike force has fallen off a cliff. They have,
but it's the other way around as well. Their defense has been stepping up. I mean, you know what I mean? The defense coming out of Netherlands, the defenders coming out of Netherlands have been class lately rather than the strike force. Maybe it's the focus on the defense that makes me say that. But
Louis van Gaal plays a very, very rigid setup. And let me stop you right there when you start talking about the defense. He's gonna, regardless of age, of having the slowest legs in all of the tournament, he's gonna start Daley Blind. So I don't see how this defense is gonna actually hold up. Daley Blind is a veteran, he has been there, done that and stuff. But I don't see how Louis van Gaal goes for a much more braver approach, especially in team selection. My best back line of them would be Van Dijk, De Vrij, and Timber, I'd say. But he's gonna definitely start De Ligt.
He will start De Ligt for sure. Yeah, there's no question there.
Ake definitely. Ake is never getting dropped. He's also bound to start, I think. But this is the thing. In my opinion, Dutch football hasn't moved on. They're still trying to emulate their glory years. They are the team that has come up as runners up more than any other country. In the tournament's history, they have been runners up 3 times. And all this Depay hype and stuff, man, bro. I used to like Depay, but I don't think he can carry this.
On that note, Sunaid, Alfredo Giacomo Barantes in the comments, he's saying that it's Depay and Van Gaal's year mega favorites to be Xmas stars this time. So the people disagree. And I think that's because they look at the lineup and they see the kind of talents that they have.
No, Gravenberch as well. Can someone who watches Bundesliga tell me if this guy is injured? Is he
exactly?
Injured? Gravenberch?
I think he's not played very much actually for Bayern Munich. This is why he lost.
He hasn't had his starts.
He hasn't played a lot for Bayern Munich. That's why I think he starts.
Yeah. To start in that Bayern team is a different question altogether. So
also another interesting thing. If you take a look at they usually play a 3-5-2. Yeah, we all know that Louis van Gaal teams. It is what it is, but they play a 3-5-2. And if you notice their right mid, Denzel Dumfries, he was having a very good year. I think last year and the year before. But this year, people are saying that he's stinking up the gaff. Like he's basically not like being what he was hyped up to be. And the guy who is underneath him, Frimpong, has been tearing it up in Bundesliga. Has been a real proper breakout season for him. But people are still saying that people are still saying that Louis Van Gaal is gonna opt for Dumfries, who was a literal truck. Yeah, this is from an article that I read um, a couple of days ago.
Who's
So
writing these articles, man? I need to find that guy.
yeah, this is frustration that people have with Louis Van Gaal and his football. Apparently, I'm not Dutch, but I'm seeing that the sentiment among the fan base is not on Louis Van Gaal's side. They have such a huge array of talent, right? Like Farouk, like like how good like a midfield of Coop Miners, De Jong, uh, like how much it can work. Like Coop Miners and even Martin de has been really good in Serie A, but in my eyes, I don't see Netherlands, like they might get out of the group, yeah, but I don't see them going far in my eyes. Xavi Simons also
I'm gonna point.
very good.
I feel that the thing with national teams is this, like, to be honest,
Yeah.
like, talk about this also when we get to England and Maguire as well. Like, it's like when you have a system already based, these players, your players know your system. So because of that, you just try to, keep on building on that rather than, bring, okay, maybe you might have a player who might be better, you understand? Because to be honest, I think, for example, Tyler Malacia should start as a wing back for sure, 100%. In my opinion, I think he should. For example, but if you guys could recall, there was a situation where Justin Timber was going to go to United. But
Yeah.
then he was also with this guy, and Van Gaal told him, like, don't go to United, not now. Wait till after the World Cup. Because why? Van Gaal counted on Timber to be an integral member of his team. He doesn't want him to go to United and not, adaptation and what is and what is not.
Yeah, like he has a say in what clubs people play for. This is
I
insane.
mean, I think every national team coach does
Logical,
that.
because why? Like, Timber is very young. Timber is an integral member of the national team. So it's just logical for Timber to ask him, because the point is Timber goes to United, he loses his place in the World Cup. And
For
then
sure.
and also Van Gaal loses a key integral member of his team. So that's why, like, I'm trying to talk about, like, for example, when you talk about, terms of Dumfries, like, I think Dumfries, like, might not be hitting it this year. I totally might agree with that. But I feel like because he's used to the system that Van Gaal plays, it's just hitting
And
at
he has proved himself to be very efficient at wing back.
that's why, like, Van Gaal chooses to, continue with him, obviously, to be honest. So I think, yeah,
We are also speaking on last guy to big up, Remco Pasveer, who was, I think, third choice keeper at Ajax at one point, and he has risen himself so high up the ranks. He is starting goalkeeper for Ajax, and he might actually be the number one. I think he is the number one for the Dutch, and it is a magnificent story. He is 40 years old, 40 years old. So yeah, big up Remco Pasveer. Yeah, without further ado, people in the chat that are telling me to make it faster. I'm trying, okay, and we are gonna kind of pick up the run rate a bit and get into predictions quickly. Let's go for the predictor, Faru.
let's predict our scores.
Doris has been silent the entire time.
I'm just listening to you guys waffling.
Waffling.
Yeah, not much to say. I'm not the expert on those teams. I mean, I'm not the expert in general, but my thoughts are only for. I mean, I'm gonna predict, so we can start here. That Netherlands will top the group,
Farouk, scroll down a little bit, please. Yeah, perfect.
which would mean that probably they would play either Wales or USA later, but that's a different story. I would say that second place will probably be Senegal, just mostly because of the expectations from the team and the hopes from everyone that certain players will do good, especially Sadio Mane. Some people like him. Most people like him and want him to do well. Yeah, that's about it for Group A.
Fair. So Netherlands and Senegal, 1 and 2 for you. Javier?
I agree with Farouk when he said that the first game will be crucial because if Ecuador beats Qatar, which is kind of expected, and Senegal lose or uh, by a by a huge margin, it will be probably like this momentum wouldn't go. So I will back Netherlands in the first place, and I will probably go for Ecuador.
Right. So Ecuador in 2 and 1 Netherlands. Yeah, Javier.
Yeah.
Good one. Yadu.
I'm going to go against what's been said here, and I'm going to credit Ecuador first. And I think Netherlands will choke it, and they'll be in panic mode trying to catch up, and they'll be second. So Ecuador first, Netherlands second. Yeah, that's my vote.
Fair enough. Ecuador might do it, but I don't see
They
it.
are dark horses. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like,
Really? To get out of the group, maybe?
to get out of this group, yeah, exactly. I mean, not for the whole World Cup, but for the group, yes.
Farouk.
Netherlands first, Senegal second.
Netherlands first, Senegal second. So I'm gonna go for Netherlands first and Qatar second. And I didn't hear anybody mention Qatar to qualify
there's
second. But who has the most votes for Senegal? It's Senegal, right? In second?
Yes.
So,
selected Senegal as second, and Netherlands has the most votes for the first.
Fair enough. So Netherlands and Senegal are the two qualifying from Group A. Let's get to Group B and kind of pick up the pace. Group B is on me. Well, interesting. Where should we start? Southgate, fossil football, dating back to 500 AD. I don't know where to begin with them. Relegated from the Nations League. Was kind of a
Nations. The man went to the final and semi-final of the last two major tournaments. When are you going to start from being relegated to the Nations League? Man?
Let me get to it. I'm just talking about the recent, very very recent form they've been in. Like in 2018, if you notice, it was a different setup. It wasn't a setup like this, and in my opinion, they overachieved.
You're saying they've already peaked and now they're just counting their blessings.
Yeah. They peaked through happenstance, in my opinion. Like I don't think they deserve to be, in the semifinals. But it is what it is.
All right, people, you heard it here first. So football isn't coming home.
That is a very valid point.
I don't think. I think okay, you're right. Like they overachieved, but I don't think England picked because like when I watch England, the same way I watch in 2018 is the same way I watch them today. Like
it's the same football, man. They haven't changed anything. Yeah,
that's why I said 100% they overachieved, but they didn't peak. I don't think they peaked, honestly.
They're not going to peak under Gareth Southgate. That is the point. They're not going to peak under this man, but probably if someone.
No one cares about peaking or lack of thereof peaking, man.
You honestly believe that Gareth Southgate is going to take England to a World Cup trophy? Do you believe that?
I mean, the man has won to a final and a semi-final. It means that
my God,
that's the whole team.
May God help you, son.
But I don't like him. Yeah. I don't like English football is garbage. I don't like what they're playing because they have so much talent. I totally agree with that. But the point is, his system works. That's the thing. You can only just judge a man by what he offers you. He went
fair point.
The stats are completely on your side, Farouk, because the semi-finals in the last two tournaments. Like the only guy who can talk to is Sir Alf Ramsey, who was one of the greatest British managers. So
the World Cup, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Sorry,
he won the World Cup for England in the 70s, right?
Yes, 1966, if I'm not wrong. Bobby Moore being captain and stuff. Well, I wasn't alive then. We weren't alive, but yeah. That's the thing, like they have so much depth in so many positions, but this man like decides to leave out so many players, so many very efficient, dynamic players. Like I don't understand how even Tony doesn't make the lineup.
Forget about fucking Ivan Toney, man. Fikayo Tomori is the best center back England has to offer right now. Whether they
it's very obvious. Tomori.
Whether they want, I mean, I can understand Tony because like you have Harry Kane, so like he's not gonna play anyway. But fucking Fikayo Tomori, no, hell no. I mean, what are they doing there, man? Honestly, it's just a bias. I think because he plays in Syria, that's why they didn't select him. To be honest, it's just.
It's definitely a thing. That's definitely a thing.
He
but then
is
again,
also Canadian. Fikayo Tomori. Probably that's the reason why. I don't understand. I don't understand. How Southgate works. Like honestly, how can Maguire? How can Maguire, be allowed to start in 2022? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I think this is the end of the road for Southgate, in my opinion. He'll be sacked after this World Cup, and hopefully, not hopefully for us, hopefully for them, they get someone competent in and utilize the array of talent at their disposal. But yeah, England in this group, they're going to steamroll it, in my opinion. But let's get to Iran and Carlos Queiroz. Former Real Madrid coach, another terrorist football, fanatic. Former Egypt coach. He coached Iran in 2018. He's back again. Basically, park the bus, and inshallah. That is Carlos Queiroz football for you. But Iran has a few good players. Iran has a very like neat squad. In my opinion, because like people think that although they play in the Asian Confederation and whatnot, their talent might be a bit lacking. But people like Sardar Azmoun, people like Taremi. It's not a bad looking side, and especially since England play such anti-football, this might be a clash of similar styles, and probably you never know. Iran might actually nick a point of the mighty English. So it can.
Unless you're Iranian, this is not a game to watch. Just go and do something else. I mean, sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is I mean, this is not something to watch in my opinion.
It is definitely time to switch the channel.
Because, I mean, by the way, guys, I would also like to point out, you guys were talking about Egypt earlier. Carlos Queiroz is the coach of Egypt that actually went through the whole, the anti-football thing with Egypt and Mo Salah and what is not. I don't know if you guys watched the AFCON final, but it was just pure garbage. So Carlos Queiroz is that. If you guys are just wondering, so you'll be getting something similar with him again this time around.
Man plays abhorrent, like unwatchable football. But yeah, it is what it is. A team like probably Iran, with their resources, their lack of resources, might probably benefit from anti-football. You never know. Coming to United States, well, this is another interesting coaching situation. Greg Berhalter, if I'm not mistaken, that's how it's pronounced. He is renowned for taking the most insane decisions you can imagine. Man takes a selfie in the middle of the game at the 80th minute for no apparent reason. Like he's a little batshit crazy. And people are pissed. People are pissed with particularly two guys who were left out of the national squad for the World Cup. Ricardo Pepi, who has been really good for Groningen in the Eredivisie, if I'm not mistaken, and also Jordan Pifok, who has been tearing it up for Union Berlin, who has been one of their most integral players for Union Berlin to be top of Bundesliga for I think was it like 6 or 7 match weeks and
well, absolutely, yeah, big miss and shock non-exclusion. It made the news.
But Sonny, that's a common thing with the national teams. Like you said it in the England squad, also in the USA. The national team coaches, they don't usually put
Yeah.
the best player. They
Yeah.
put their, like
System
whoever's
players.
underneath.
Yeah.
No, not. I think not even system, Jadu. It's like almost like, hey, you were here for me since the beginning. I will back you. Like in which system does Maguire fit? Like
I
someone
feel
says,
like that's like a joke. Like, how do you fit an elephant into a fridge? It's like how do you fit a fridge onto the pitch
Talking
to put
about
on Harry
talking about
Maguire?
the fridge. Talking about the fridge. Apparently, the American national team has an American version of Harry Maguire. His name is Aaron Long. I suggest the people who are listening in and watching us later look him up on YouTube and watch his highlights. He is like pixel for pixel Harry Maguire, born in America.
Wow.
Like
Okay, that makes for interesting research.
for sure, he plays for New York Red Bulls, and man is a fucking fridge. And people are saying that he's gonna single-handedly cost them, a chance to qualify. But yeah, it is what it is. But even then, like they have such good talent. Yunus Musa, the guy who plays for Valencia, like he, in my
Mhm.
opinion, has always been like very highly touted. Like Giovanni Reina, of course, and Weston McKennie,
The
Tyler
famous,
Adams.
the famous ones, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic.
Brendan
What?
Aronson has been tearing it up in the Premier League this season for Leeds
Mhm.
United. Timothy Weah, the son of the only African player to win the Ballon d'Or, George Weah. Things hasn't exactly gone according to plan for Timothy Weah, but
Neither has
still,
it for Serginho Dest, which is a different
yeah,
topic.
he's at
Yes.
Milan. The club doesn't want him. No, Barca doesn't want him back. You
Yeah.
know,
But still, they have the LeBron James of soccer, Christian Pulisic. So maybe you never
the
know.
God, the Almighty Christian Pulisic. Man actually inked a tattoo, if I'm not mistaken, last year, and used it in exactly 2 goal celebrations. You know, 2 goal celebrations. Man can't do the basics right. So I haven't seen him in a USA shirt. So
I
I
mean,
don't know.
yeah, it is.
he's been good.
It's a different tournament. And can we just agree that if the US wins against England, they want the game to be called soccer and not football. So that's
Uh, they win it. They win
if they win. Yeah,
the
if
right
they
to say it.
yeah they win the right to say it by trial.
I
Combat. Yeah.
think Pulisic has been good for the U.S. national team. Like they,
Mhm.
this is, like for example, I know Pulisic is not even half the player for Chelsea that he was for Dortmund,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's the talisman of the U.S. National team, and they know that, and he plays very good. For I watch him because of we are in the same confederation, and Pulisic has been good. Like uh, maybe he he was never going to be the LeBron of football, but he could potentially be the reference of the national team in this tournament. Like because USA usually have a solid squad,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and this squad doesn't seem solid. Like it's almost like only, let
People
me say,
people also
like
say
three
people also say
players.
that people also say that they want to actually the manager is someone who also wants to play something similar to total football and wants the ball to be played out from the back and stuff. But they say they use 2 MLS center backs to do the same. So I don't know, I don't know about USA, but they have a chance in this group. Everyone apart from England, who is the obvious candidate to qualify, has a chance. Has
Yeah.
a chance. You never know. Um, Moving on to Wales, interesting reading. Their first World Cup in God knows how long. Like they were very underrated coming into the 2016 World Cup. Remember, they were also in the group with England, and they topped the group. Nobody gave them a chance, but they, went all the way into the semi-finals. And with the Welsh, it's interesting, especially they are up since they're up against England, and there is the Welsh
It
English
will be an emotionally charged game, no matter what.
the Welsh English beef, the English American beef, so it's kind of a geopolitical situation here.
Yeah, US Iran beef, like historically.
Yeah,
Why are we not talking about that?
that's a big one. Because we can't talk about such shit, man. That's beyond our pay grade.
Yeah,
USA
demonetized.
Iran
Politics.
goes way back. Sorry, Doris?
Yeah, so it's a group of
Politics.
beefs. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
this is the group of the like the beefs. Everyone has something against each other. Like
Yeah.
some agenda, some vendetta, some forgotten,
yeah,
stuff to beef about. So yeah,
It is
it,
it is it is a very interesting lineup that the coach, if I'm not mistaken, Rob Page has actually decided to go with, because they have plenty of experience. We needn't talk any more about Gareth Bale that we haven't already. Man turns up when it matters for Wales, and it almost is an obsession to actually be an example, be the man to get the job done for Wales, and he's still going strong. And I believe that he's going to have a very huge say again in this World Cup. And
big game play. He
big
turned
game
up
play.
even for LAFC, helped them win the championship there in the US. Scored a header. I
Yeah.
think 119th minute. So
yeah,
It is a
amazing,
weird
amazing
case
player.
with the Welsh. Like you have some very good players. Like if you look at the lineup, you have like someone like Aaron Ramsey, who is very technical. Yeah. Someone like
Dan
Joy
James,
Allen.
Dan James, Fulham.
Yeah, Dan James is a winger. Nico Williams is very very technical, who can actually like wait a pass. But then you have people like Brendan Johnson, who is a very young talent, who plays at Nottingham Forest. I watched him; he's brilliant. Um, and guys like Kiefer Moore, fucking Kiefer Moore has been around for so long. This guy was basically championship fodder. But whenever I've seen him in a Welsh shirt, he steps up. He is the Welsh equivalent of Peter Crouch. Man does a job. Man does an absolute job. We can't also forget Ben Davis. Like Tottenham might be shit, but
Tottenham's, yeah.
whenever he plays for Wales, he puts in a shift. Harry Wilson for Fulham, very, very promising winger, very pacey, very skillful. Ethan Ampadu as well, formerly of Chelsea, pretty decent defender. Not the best, but pretty decent. But my eyes are, on the keeper. Man made 10 saves against Ukraine, 10 saves. And like people were genuinely not knowing how that tie was going to go, and he had a huge say in Wales actually making it to the World Cup. So all in all, I would give Wales a slight edge over US and Iran. Like, wouldn't you guys do the same?
Yeah, I mean, easily. Just based on the squad alone, just
Yeah.
based on what it means to the team this time.
Mm. And
Because
then,
because they have a lot of veterans who are looking at the last World Cup.
yeah, for sure.
So then it's their last chance, and don't they know it? So they will be getting out of the group at least. That's my prediction. Yeah.
Mm. And they also has this innate ability to actually play fearlessly. They have
Yeah.
this thing to
Clutch football at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they play fearlessly, and I think since it is their first appearance in so many years, they have nothing to lose, and I think they'll give it, a very very good go to actually make it out. But yeah, let's move on to predictions, Farouk.
Sure, sure, sure.
I think we're all in agreement here. Doris, please announce your picks.
So yeah, I would probably say the obvious that England will top the group. I don't think there's much question about that. Um, the only question is it gonna be the USA or Wales? And based on everything, I think it's gonna be Wales this time because it, like you said, it means a lot to them, and we will probably see Bale again do something crazy, but I don't think they will go like really far because, as we mentioned before, second place of Group B plays the winner of Group A, and that is the Netherlands, probably. And I don't think that they really stand a chance there against the Netherlands.
Mm. So first England and second Wales for you, Doris?
Yeah, yes, that's my prediction.
Javier?
Yeah, same as Doris. I think Wales is in a better form in terms of like I don't know what's the word, but the repechaje with Ukraine give them a lot of boost, and US struggle in the CONCACAF. I
They
think
finished third.
yeah. I think England first and Wales second.
Mm. Yadu and Farouk, I guess you are in agreement or no?
Actually, no.
Let's go.
Vice versa, because I actually personally believe that Wales actually could top England. I personally believe so. I think that the Wales has the know-how. They have the
Yeah,
tournament.
exactly.
Like Wales plays the US first, and then they play Iran, and they play England as the last game. I personally believe that Wales should get over US because, like, I think US is just full of overhyped Captain Americas and Wonder Kids, like because English is the medium of communication, and like US is a very prominent country politically and economically. So everyone who can literally just control a ball is the next Zidane and is the next Cristiano Ronaldo and stuff like that. So I feel like they're just full of overhyped players, and like Wales, why it's not a team that has a lot of individuals. Like obviously they have people like Bale and Ramsey, but really when you watch Wales, you have a sense of a team. Honestly,
Yeah,
like
definitely. They fight for each other so much.
Dark horse in that, Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore is a bulldozer. He plays for Bournemouth in the Premier League. Like whenever you see him play, even if he doesn't score, but he like bullies your defenders.
He's a presence, he's a proper presence.
I mean, I don't want to use the word harassment, but like he literally, borderline harasses your defenders. So I think, I think, in the game against the US and against Iran, he's going to be very useful for them. So I think the game against England and Wales is going to be a very emotionally charged games. So I actually personally would select Wales as first and England as second to go through.
In that case, England would play the Netherlands if we go by our prediction. So do you think they stand a chance there? Like, who do you think is actually a better team between the Netherlands and England? Because if you look at it like that, you have to take into account that England has been doing well in tournaments recently. Even though if they don't win it, they go far, and that is like a big element in my prediction. That's mostly why. Even though I hate to admit it,
we'll get to we are basically reviewing all the groups and getting to the knockout. So we'll get there. I hope we don't get to 3 hours. I'm already worried about the time, and I bet all of you are. But we got to do it properly, at least in my opinion. But yeah, so that's England and Wales in second for most, even for me. I think that pretty much says it all. Moving on to Group C. Yeah, Argentina, Mexico, Poland, Saudi Arabia. Javier, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, this group has I think the first of the three potential winners. I think Argentina. I hope I can only hope Argentina didn't win the World Cup. That would be a tragedy for us as Madridistas.
For me
Like
too. For me too. Nah.
you,
I mean, as a
we
Madrid
will
fan,
hear we will hear until the end of times that Messi is the greatest of all time. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't stand that.
Same.
But that being said, I think
I
Argentina
mean,
is
let's be honest though. Like, I mean, personally, for me though, I think Messi is the greatest.
No, Farouk, don't you fucking dare.
I mean, no, man. That's the thing, man. Like, call a spade, man. Give the respect where it's due. Like, Messi is the best player I've
I'm
ever.
calling it a spade a spade. Yes, he's a brilliant player, but I don't think he's as clutch as Cristiano. No. So in my eyes, he is not the greatest. No.
Let's not go there. Just in the light of all the Cristiano interviews, let's not say anything that we might regret in the future. So please continue with the group stage discussion.
you know, Argentina is since Scaloni, I think they're unbeaten like 37 games straight.
Insane stuff. I don't understand how this man has brought up a well-balanced squad, right? For Argentina.
That was the problem since a long time. They had no balance. They had a lot of good players, but nobody knew how to play together. And there was all the internal issues, the one with Dybala versus Messi versus Di Maria and shit like that. But finally, it's all clicking, and they're looking dangerous. Yeah, Javier, continue.
They look like yeah, I agree with you, Jalo. They look like a solid team. Like they're not anymore these individual guys that between the 2014 World Cup until 2020, I think there were a lot of struggles in terms of ego. Losing a final would be like a huge blow with everyone. So they struggled to came back, but they came back stronger than in the past. Like I think Argentina is for the first time is not Messi dependent. Messi is their star for sure. He is one of, if not the best player in the past XO years. But they usually and they depend on him like no other. And now, even though he's still their star, they are playing as a team, and that's the reason why Messi is being better because he doesn't need to play every single position.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't have to carry it as much anymore.
And now I just checked my Twitter and they are changing two players. I think I don't know the reason. I didn't look for it, but Correa is going, and also a guy that plays in the MLS. I don't know who he is.
Korea, yeah, he was actually called up. Like when I was with Farouk, we saw it on Twitter that Angel Correa is actually going. I'm happy for him. But yeah, the very distinct, like if you take a very very like on the surface look at the Argentina squad, it is very well rounded compared to previous years. The amount of depth they have is pretty insane. Like especially in defense, in midfield, like yeah, they might not be the best midfielders in the world, but I'm pretty sure they can do a job.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you don't need to be a 10 in every position to win a World Cup. You need to be a solid 8 or 9 your entire squad, and that's Argentina. Maybe, and I think this is the common in this group. They struggle in the defense. Like the defense is not their strongest, but it doesn't look like like 2014 or 2018 defense. Like this is a better Argentina squad, and I think this is a solid candidate for winning the World Cup. So
yeah, just look at it. Tagliafico, Lisandro Martinez, Cristian Romero, and Molina, and combine it with a really, really irritating keeper like Emiliano Martinez. There you have it. Solid backline.
Yeah.
Irritating Otamendi. God, I hate that player.
Otamendi,
No, I
what
cannot
a
stand
fucking bitch,
him.
man. Otamendi
I
is. Oh my
cannot
God.
No,
stand that player.
I can't even mention it. That's why I just skipped over it. I just don't want to think about it.
Moving to Saudi Arabia, I think uh, this is one of the teams that you don't usually think about in the World Cup
Yeah.
because they don't have been great, but they're almost every single World Cup since '94. So they they play as like uh, they play as a squad. There's nothing. There is no individual that outstands the others. Um, but it is a solid squad. I think I I don't have enough information because I cannot
We
watch
all
the.
don't watch the Saudi league, and most of them are, like from the Saudi league.
No,
So
a couple of like quick pointers. Everybody's from the Saudi league. The most representation, I mean, is from Al Hilal Saudi and Al Nasser, two of the big teams there, and they have a lot of experience playing against each other domestically as well as playing with each other. So something that you'd expect the overlap between
and
Spain and
don't discount
Barcelona
the
or Germany and Bayern. So the same thing
Yeah,
yeah.
can
yeah.
happen there. So yeah, that's a
This is
big thing.
this is the one thing that I thank you, Jadu. This is the one thing that I was curious about because uh, here in Mexico, once they do that, like they play with 11 players from the same team
Mm.
in order to, if you can't be great, at least you can know your teammates very well.
Yeah.
So
Also, don't sleep on Saudi Arabia's manager. Like Javi Renard, he actually led Ivory Coast to an AFCON title without Didier Drogba, for which he is still rated super highly in the international scene. So you never know. Like Saudi Arabia has
Sorry for interrupting.
always had nifty footballers in my memory.
Let me see.
The Yasser Al Shahrani, the guy at left back, like he has been going for years. Dossari, they've had a few very, very good players, but in this group, no, I don't see them, making it out,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
in this group, nothing to write home about. Yeah, it is what it
yeah,
is.
moving on to Poland, they also qualified, and I think I think Poland is the latest qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, very
As you
dramatic
guys remember,
qualification. Yeah.
they were set to play against Russia, and you know,
Yeah,
you all guys know what happened. And but I think Poland has, like two of the most important players. Like Szczesny is a very solid goalkeeper, and
Mm.
Robert Lewandowski is probably, if not the best, number 9 in the world. So if you are, and also I think is, sorry if I butchered the last names because it's, like the last names in Polish are very, very difficult. But
are you referring to the midfielder,
no,
Krzysztof
no,
Jan?
the center, it's called,
Bednarek, you mean?
no, it's, Jets, Jedzreski.
Bednarek. Oh, okay. Yeah. The guy from
Jedrzejczyk.
Legia Warsaw, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there, if you put we talk about this from time to time from the Real Madrid. Like if you have this center line from the goalkeeper, the center back, and the
Yeah.
striker,
Yeah.
Mm.
if the all guys are top, you can manage to have a few missing spots. Like maybe once again I said it, the defense in the whole group is not their best asset, but Poland has very good players in every single line, at least one, and one of the best strikers in the tournament. So I think Poland is if they pass the group, which I hope not, but I think if Poland passes the group, it will be the dark horse of this tournament because Poland knows how to play. They're being good in their last tournaments, and I think this is their moment to be important in a World Cup. I think uh,
I worry for only their defense. Honestly, like guys like Bednarek, like he barely plays for Villa. For Aston Villa, he barely plays. Guys like Kamal Glick has been around for years. He's a veteran, but I don't think these guys have like enough in them to actually keep goals out. Chesney, we all know Chesney. I used to like him at one point, but man is so error prone. Like he has a brain fart in him, like average brain fart of like 2.0, like per 90 probably, because he's not the best. My only hope in this Polish side is obviously Lewandowski and Zielinski, who's been tearing it up in Syria for Napoli.
yeah,
Those two are, in my opinion, the only shining lights I see
I
in this.
mean, in the middle of the crowd, you can also spot Matty Cash, another Aston Villa
Medicash,
player.
okay.
Just quality among the squad. I mean, about Bednarek, his substitution is Gumni, who plays for Augsburg in the Bundesliga.
Oh,
Not a great choice. I think Bednarek starts instead of Gumni. Yeah.
mm. Yeah. So, like, I fear for their ability to actually, like, stamp the authority on the game. And Lewandowski has never scored in the World Cup. Let's get that
Until
in
now.
until now. But
hopefully he doesn't score in the first game.
Yeah, Javier. With that, let's come to your favorite team of the
With
tournament.
that
Yeah.
segue, Group C ends Mexico. Um, what can I say about this without sounding biased? I think this is one of the worst Mexican national team that I remember in terms of we usually have like a star or two. Uh, we this is the first World Cup without Rafa Marquez. Rafa was, you probably guys remember him in
Barcelona.
Barcelona. He was one of the best center backs in. He will probably be the best center back in our history, and the lack of his legacy will be taken
I
by.
would say, I would go on to say Rafa Marquez had a better ponytail or a man bun than shitty Van Dyke. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but
That
like I
doesn't
said in
qualify
the
him into the teams. I mean,
like I said in the first segment, I think this is the Mexican national squad is not huge in depth.
Yeah.
Like the goalkeeper is obviously gonna be Ochoa. Ochoa will be
still there. Yeah, the World Cup icon. He
yeah
shows up. He shows up
he's
in the
fifth.
World Cup and does a
If
madness
you
every
guys
time.
remember what he does to Brazil in the
Oh my
2014 World
God.
Cup, that guy was a wall. And Ochoa performs better in the national team than in
It's
his team.
crazy. Yeah.
So Ochoa is a very solid goalkeeper. It wouldn't be my first option because I have a
Talavera?
no. Actually, it's one of Acevedo. He's not even in the list.
Mm.
Acevedo will be the starting goalkeeper in the 2026 World Cup. But
Ah, okay.
this is like Tata Martino don't want to bring young guys because he knows that he's not gonna be uh, uh, in
How can
Mexico.
you leave out people like Diego Lainez? I don't understand.
Like I said, so he's not looking for the future. He's just in this moment, center in this moment, and he knows he will be out in January. You know, no
Mm,
matter what happens,
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's out. And we are in Mexico. We're not gonna play a single qualifying game in 4 years because we are the already qualify for the next World Cup. So they don't care about the process, and that's one of the common things. Moving to the line of the, I think they will partner Araujo.
Let's talk about Gordado too. Fifth World Cup for him. He
Yeah,
has been. I have seen him in 2006.
my God.
This guy is insane. How he
Yeah.
still keeps it. Real an absolute legend for Betis as well. Um,
He's been
tell me.
legend for every single team that he plays. Like uh, the guys in the Netherlands love him. The guys in Germany, even though he only have one good season, it was a hell of a season for Leverkusen. But he is, as you may imagine, if this is his fifth World Cup, he's not young. He's not that old. He went
He's
to
only
the
36 for a fifth World Cup. It's not bad. He's younger than
yeah,
Cristiano.
he was quite young for the 2006, so that's why and we usually qualify for the World Cup. So I think the one player that I'm most excited to see is definitely Chucky Lozano.
Mm.
This guy seems to be in in their top form for Napoli for the past this season, and maybe he can do the same that he did for us against Germany. I can only hope that uh, Chucky have a very solid World Cup, because I don't see either of our starting, strikers. Probably they would. I think he's gonna start Funes Mori against Poland because Raúl Jiménez is not fit. He didn't deserve his place because he has not been fit for the past months, and we have a couple of strikers better than him in this moment. But as I said, uh, managers used to call guys that support them in the qualifying more than key moments. Also, I think guys like Edson Alvarez will probably have a very solid World Cup.
Yeah.
He didn't move to Chelsea as was expected. Maybe they will try it again in January. I think even Edson and Chucky will be our top players, and
Edson
something.
Alvarez has been really good when I've seen him for Ajax. He's good.
Yeah, he's been good, and I think that position is one of the the hardest to find a very like solid, and he's quite young as well. So probably not my most excited that I've been for my national team, but uh, probably this will be a good segue to the predictions. I think the best, and sorry, not the best, the most important game for us is the first one. We need to win against Poland, and because I think all three of Argentina, Poland, and Mexico are going to win against Saudi Arabia, and Argentina is going to be so strong. So the game changer for either Poland or Mexico is against each other. I don't know what you guys think, or
I totally agree with that. I totally agree because I feel like I saw I saw the schedule. I think the last game is Poland against the last game is Poland against Argentina, and like I think the middle game is the first game is Poland against Mexico. Okay, so actually I
yeah,
saw that thinking like based on that, if Mexico wins the first game against Poland, then they go to the game against Argentina, and even if they lose, they can have a morale booster against Saudi Arabia, and like because Poland plays Argentina in the last game of the what's it called, the last game of the group. So I think it's going to
yeah.
be quite interesting. That opening game, as we said in the first group as well, that opening game is going to be very key. Mexico Poland is going to be a very very important game to decide who qualifies on this group.
Well, then let's get into the predictions. Doris, who do you think is going to top, and who do you think is going to come in second?
So yeah, basically we can all say Messi. This is his World Cup, and many people are hoping that Messi actually does really well in this World Cup. So it's kind of
His
difficult not to put them in first place,
Yeah,
especially
man, his
as we
form has
said.
been unreal this time. It's
Yeah, but
mad.
even without him, it's still a solid team and with good players, quality players. Even though I really despise some of them, they are still good players, and of course they've been in really good form as a team, not just Messi. So we definitely have to put them in first place. And the biggest question now is actually second place. I don't think anyone was really wondering about first place. I'm gonna be biased because of Javier here, and I'm gonna say that Mexico will be second. But I actually believe it. Like Mexico will probably, give
Give it
it.
a good go.
Yeah. I mean, we can mention Poland, but it's only because of one player. I don't think that one player can really take it that far.
Fair enough. Javier, obviously, we all know what you think about who is going to finish first, but yeah, let's hear what you have to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean, Argentina will probably be 9 points and I don't know, 10 to
I
12
don't think they're
goals.
getting 9 points, I
I
don't
think
think they're getting nine
I
points. They
think
might
that's
qualify.
you're wishing that they're not gonna win 9 points, but they are, and also
I'll
they're
be
gonna
brave.
keep
They're not getting 9 points. No.
the goal score difference will be like something around 12-1, something like that. This group will be crazy, you know. But yeah,
But
Argentina
yeah.
first, and obviously with my heart in my hand. Thank you, Doris, for the support. I think Mexico will be second.
We all hope Mexico is second. I'm going for the same. I don't see the polish. Like they might give it a fight, but I don't think they'll stand a chance. Also,
It's
Saudi Arabia,
realistic, yeah.
no. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, nope.
Yeah,
I don't think
man.
they're getting out.
I'll back my boy as well. It's Argentina and Mexico. You know what I want to see this time around? I want to see Rodrigo de Paul act as a bodyguard again and punch someone up just for a foul on Messi. That's what I really want to see this World Cup. Let's hope it
No, they
happens.
hate the lad. Hate the lad. Hate the
Rodrigo,
lad.
guys, I will predict this. Rodrigo, the Argentina against Mexico, De Paul and Edson Alvarez, both of them are gonna get yellow card, probably a red card for either of them because those guys are crazy.
Yeah, man.
Those
They're,
two
they're
guys are
just they're too
completely
trigger
crazy.
happy. Yeah, they will pick fights left and
Yeah, yeah,
right, and
they're
yeah.
gonna pick a fight for sure. If not, they're gonna invent one and they're gonna against each other because they are so similar in that regard.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah,
Farooq, what
that's
do you
our
think?
prediction. That's my
I
prediction
mean,
anyway.
same team, man. It's criminal not to select Mexico right now. We have no other choice but Mexico.
Come on, are you guys like falling for the Javier
The charm of Javier, yes, yes, I
Javier
am.
brainwashing it?
Yes, I am.
I want to read in the comment section, guys. So please support Mexico.
Yeah, man. Put Mexico W in the chat,
Put
guys.
Mexico
Yeah.
in the comments.
Well, I think it is getting pretty late, and we'll actually do it in two parts. For the people listening, we didn't have. We knew this was gonna be long, but for some people, it's actually pretty getting pretty late, and we all have work tomorrow. So hopefully, we might do the second part of this predictions um, on either tomorrow or the latest by Saturday. But yeah, like check out our Instagram, or like turn on your notification bells on, so that whenever we schedule a live, you get notified. Um, but yeah, it'll be before Saturday. But I guess on a good note for Mexico, I think we can call it a wrap. As you can see, Group A, we guys went with Netherlands and Senegal. Group B, England and the Welsh. C, Argentina and Mexico. But yeah, the rest is to be continued. Before we kind of wrap it up, shout out to Real Madrid committee, partners on Instagram. Check them out. They run a brilliant Real Madrid fan page. And yeah, any last thoughts, boys, before we kind of wrap it
Yeah,
up?
check out our reels as well. I mean, we've been making reels, so check it out. We made some bold predictions. It's day one of reels yesterday. We'll keep them coming, uh, pumping out content this World Cup. We have a lot of amazing things coming up. Javier and I are coming up with some quizzes, something to get the audience involved in as well. So lots of interesting World
Yeah,
Cup
we're
content.
also having a prediction stable, in the works as well, so that the guys in the panel are going to be predicting the fixtures, and we're going to be having a points table, and also we're going to decide what the winner gets along the way. Am I right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to win it. By the way,
Hmm.
I feel sorry for you guys already,
Oh,
but
no,
it is
no
what it is.
bias in it, but yeah. I'll
No,
be
I
winning
just
it.
believe in myself, man. Come on, I just believe in myself.
Before we go though, if you're new here, please subscribe. I've been
Yeah.
I've been holding this up for some time now, so please subscribe. If you're seeing this, subscribe.
Yeah. You heard the man. You heard the man. Like and subscribe, people. But yeah, until next time, Hala Madrid. Viva
Hala
Brazil.
Madrid.
Alamat.